Okay, one of the really cool things about having this compost business is getting to know people in the region and finding out all the really cool things that they're doing in their gardens and on their farms. This morning, Joe and Cindy of Piney Flats were gracious enough to let me come by and get to know what they're doing and explain to me how they're doing it. So thanks, Joe. Thank you, Cindy. And here we go.
Okay. Yeah, my name's Joe Winchester, and my wife Cindy and I moved to Northeast Tennessee about 18 months ago. We absolutely fell in love with the area, and as we moved into the property here, there was a lot that we wanted to do, and so we've been working at it a little bit at a time. But just to tell you some of the history on the minor landscaping, I'm not a landscaper by trade, but we knew we needed some decent dirt to be able to work on the lawn, to plant some trees, and we wanted to start a garden in our backyard. So initially I'd made some phone calls, found some folks that had some dirt, and we were able to do a couple things with that. But I was not very pleased because when I explained my intent and my objective, and I was assured, hey, here's a high quality dirt, what I actually received had a lot of rock and had a lot of branches and twigs in it. So there was time spent pulling that out, and it was not ideal for what we had wanted to accomplish. It was fill dirt, it's really what it was, but it was cheap. So I continued to look. Joe Hoffman Composting had the best out there that I saw. They're sought after, and so I kind of had to wait a little while, and then finally he called and he says, I've got it, I'm ready. And we've been buying from Joe Hoffman Composting, and we'll continue to do that. It's got the best, beautiful, black, rich soil. But what we started off with, Sullivan County, Tennessee had come in and removed 4 pear trees that were underneath our telephone lines or our electrical lines. And so we just had stumps at the bottom of the ground. And that was prior to us purchasing the property. They showed up after we had acquired the property and said, you know, here's our gift for you. You've got 3 dogwood trees. So each of these 3 dogwoods that I have, we had to drill really, you know, down it. The soil is nothing but clay. It almost looks like Play-Doh. And of course rock. So I got an auger to put a hole in, you know, decent size so we could plant these dogwoods. I like dogwoods. I like the way they flower in the spring. But we used Joe's Hoffman's composting to put a base down in there, and then got the trees planted. And each of these trees has easily come up at least two feet or at least a third of the size. So I'm pleased with the way that the trees are coming along. You know, they've taken root. We've kept them watered. I also had some areas around the sidewalk, 6 inches wide, probably about 4 inches deep, that was nothing but dirt, and it looked like a trench around there. I don't know if the prior owner, maybe they were planning on doing something with flowers or landscaping rock or something. We filled all that in with Joe's dirt, planted some seed on that. The grass has taken root, and then we've had some other areas at the front of the driveway that those 4 to 6 inch deep holes, and at the front of the driveway they were at least 2 feet by 2 feet. It was just a lot of decorative rock. So different flavor for us. We wanted to remove that and just put grass all the way out to the front. So that's kind of a little bit on the front. I'm thankful for the quality of soil I'm getting from Joe. It's good stuff. It's beautiful, black, rich soil. But come on in the back and we'll take a look back there. Okay, so we're in the backyard right now. We only have 1 acre lot. But when we bought the property, the prior owner had an above ground pool. And of course they took that when they moved. The challenge for us had been, because the land has a bit of a slope, for the prior owner to put the above ground pool in, they had to cut out a piece of the backyard here to level it. So as you get up closer to the house, that was probably a minimum of 18 inches deep, and then it kind of came out towards the back, and it was maybe 4 or 5 inches on the back side. So essentially I had a huge area. It was a massive size above ground pool, probably one of the larger ones that I've seen, but it was just pure dirt. And of course the pool was gone. So when neighbors or visitors or friends would come, they'd look in my backyard and see this huge circle. And the joke became, well, what is that, a crop circle? You have some spaceship land in your backyard in the middle of the night? And it was the joke that we had. So I knew that I needed some topsoil to properly fill that and then to seed on it. And ultimately what I wanted to do is to put a fire pit above that. I've lost count literally of how many tons I've brought in and moved it all by hand. I know with Joe Hoffman, I've brought in over 10, maybe 12 tons at a minimum, probably more. But that whole area where the fire pit is has now been leveled off. Of course, my biggest challenge now is with the good grass seed I had down, the weeds are taking over. So I'll handle that later. But at least when we're mowing, we don't have dirt, we don't have a crop circle, and we've been able to fill that in. But I was not pleased with the initial loads I got from some of the other businesses around, because again, full of rocks, full of branches. But once I got Joe's dirt on top, the grass just springs up. You get your seed, get it nice and wet, let it germinate in a bag or watered for 24 hours, dump that in Joe's soil, put some straw over it, poof, you got instant grass. So that's another place we've used the dirt. I've got a couple of apple trees over here that I wanted to put in. Again, same thing I did with the front. Had an auger drill those holes down, a good 24, 27 inches, backfilled it with some of that good high quality dirt. And both of those are doing well. They just had to be watered. But the fun part has actually been the raised bed garden. I'm not a master gardener or something, but this is a hobby and we wanted to enjoy this. But we have a high concentration of deer in this area. At any given time in the evening, I can sit on my back deck and look out here and see 10, 12, 14 deer. They'll move across the street and then another group will come in. So there's a high concentration in this area. Some of the neighbors feed them because they like the deer. You'll see traffic going slow and it's like people are watching out for the deer. But if you don't have your garden fenced, they'll strip it to nothing. So what we had decided to do was we wanted to put up a critter fencing, and we needed to get that up before we really started growing anything. So for that reason, we really started the garden late this year. It's our first year, but we started late. But even with that, these 4x8 boxes, and I'm not a master craftsman, but I figured how to build these out and do it myself. 2 scoops off of Joe Hoffman's Bobcat will fill these. And you can see what it is. I mean, this is beautiful black, rich soil. You are not going to find that with Northeast Tennessee clay that's out here. These plants were just put in here a couple weeks ago. The other 2 boxes, we've had so much growth off of these, and, especially the zucchini. We have pruned off, with what we have here foliage-wise, we have pruned off this much and more. So we're able to try to keep things off the ground. We get a little more air and water in there and sunlight. But it's growing gangbusters. I sent you a picture earlier there of some of what we have as far as our first fruit. So we're expecting more in the coming days. We just did our first picking here yesterday. So I'm excited. Ultimately, we'll have 9 boxes in here. So I got a lot more dirt to get. And I know where I'm going to get it. And I'm not making any money saying this. I've told my neighbors and friends, if you want good quality dirt, you need to go to Joe Hoffman.
Very good. Well, thanks.
Yeah, we're having fun with it.